Greats.
Fucking goddamn posers.
Scumbags.
Don't give a damn, I am the Cobra.
That's what Martin Cove should have said to that chick. He should have said, I don't give a damn, I am the Cobra. No one tells me what
Was that
to do.
that buddy that bit his Asian friend from the TV from Cobra Kai?
And if I bite down on your shoulder, you should
shoulder on you.
Because you just got bit by the Cobra. No. I will say that good on her for calling him out and publicly shaming him, because that's weird.
That is pretty shitty behavior. Like I really need to sit down and watch Cobra Kai at some point. I've heard it's a really good series. And I know it just ended. I never really got that into the Karate Kid back when I was a kid though.
That's the thing. I got no nostalgia for it. It's like yeah, it was a movie I saw. I don't care about the lore. I don't care about the backstory. I don't care about seeing where they end up 30 years down the road. It's just like I don't give two fucks. Like,
actually, somewhere I've got like a jacket that my brother bought me as a Christmas gift or a birthday present or something one year. It's a Cobra Kai jacket, like one of those AliExpress specials. Mm-hmm. I've never worn it, but I have it. So at some point I'm gonna actually watch the series. But that's the only thing I know of it. Is I know it's based on Karate Kid. I heard it was pretty good, and it does. I do think the concept of it is pretty interesting, where it kind of follows the life story of. But yeah, like as far as like doing it, what the fuck did the guy do? Like bite his castmate's shoulder in the middle of a convention or some stupid thing?
Yeah, they're having like, I don't know, some kind of playful roughhousing or something, and he decided to bite her apparently quite hard to the point where there's a thing. I think Martin Cove is kind of a little off his rocker at this point. I mean, he's 80. I follow him on Instagram and stuff. I mean, he's a little out there, I think.
He's always been a little weird.
He's also, from what I understand, really hopped up on pain meds because he has like a lot of injuries and stuff. So yeah, I mean, that probably doesn't help either. So like, apparently people at the convention were saying like, even before the incident, like he was really, really out of it. So
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
So anyways, whatever.
He don't give a damn. He is the Cobra.
I figure, you know what? We're live already. We're already discussing this. I just figure, you know what? Listen, again, Cobra Kai strikes first. That's literally their motto.
That's what it is. Yep. She should just count her blessings he didn't spit at her.
I mean, that's true. Like, Cobra Kai strikes first, so he bit first.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yep.
There's a chance she would have bit him if he'd given her the opportunity. So he took away the opportunity.
I get just the way she lambasted him in public. I get the feeling she could kick his ass. So he's lucky he just got away with a public shaming.
I think he could barely move at this point. Yeah. I think most people could kick his ass at this point. I'm not sure if he actually has any actual training or whatnot. Or I'm not sure if she does either. I know some of the people on the show did have actual martial arts training. I'm not sure how much she actually had, although I suspect some.
So, allegedly biting co-star Alicia Hannah Kim during a VIP meet and greet. He reportedly bit her on the arm, and when she protested, he kissed her arm. Where he bit her.
I kissed her boo-boo. What a nice
drugs are you?
Boo-boo.
Granddad kissed granddaughter's boo-boo after he made it.
Brandon is in the chat saying, "First, hey everyone. I'm about to drink the beer that I gave to Brandon for his birthday. I gave him one of my cans of Trailways Tiramisu Imperial Stout, which is like barrel aged Imperial Stout.
Why don't you come into?
Why don't you come onto the hangout and drink with us, there, Brandon? And they'll send you the link if you want.
Yeah, Brandon, why don't you come with us on camera?
Yeah,
make Nick some money.
Makes some YouTube Nick cocky.
By the way, nobody asked me, but I'm having an octopus wants to fight because Nick said it was
right,
a BYOB maintenance beer. So,
well, we're just doing a hangout tonight. So,
I'm still maintaining myself.
Right now, I'm drinking a High Life, but at some point, I'm going to crack open this baby, which is Pollinator Hefeweizen. I've had a craving for Hefeweizen for a bit. Brandon says that He's okay right now. He's actually doing some laundry and cleaning up a bit.
Stop being responsible at home and get on the fucking camera and drink your ass off, you bum.
Yeah. Listen,
Drink and call in sick to work tomorrow.
Listen, tomorrow afternoon, Nick will come home and do your laundry for you. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
What? Jesus, Nick.
Yeah,
Brandon's probably going out for steak tomorrow night.
Ooh,
Nick, you gotta make some consolidations. You gotta, every once in a while, you gotta grease the wheel a little bit if you want.
Gotta row with the punches.
Yeah, and whatever you do not shame Brandon for his skid marks. Okay, it's hot in the office sometimes.
Yeah. The lion does not wipe. Okay, so speaking of which, Lee, what are you drinking tonight?
Are you saying I'm a lion or I have skid marks? Which one are you going for there?
Why not both?
I was going to go with that Lee Russell alpha male kind of.
Oh yeah, I'm a very alpha male, very much so. Yeah, you never mind. The whole alpha beta thing has been discredited by science.
Yeah. I'm only sarcastically. That's that alpha male bullshit is stupid.
So I have something new to me. I think it's fairly new too, from Two Crows, because it's got some new fancy label art for them. The Adanac West Coast Pale Ale, and it's at 5.2% alcohol by volume, and it's very good.
There you go. There's something for you, Brandon. Next time you're down in Halifax, Two Crows, and it's a West Coastie. Ooh,
it is.
So that looks really clear. Like clean.
It's just a pale ale, so it's not like super dank or anything like that. It's just got some nice, some of those nice pine, slightly grapefruity kind of notes, and it drinks pretty clean though, and its bitterness isn't particularly off the charts. I think it's pretty mild, dialed back. So honestly, I want the IPA version of this, honestly, because it would probably be pretty fucking awesome. But
I love old school West Coast pale ales. I wish they had some more of those, like nice clean finished pine bombs. Oh yeah, tell me about it. Like when they made that Robo Hop that Greg sent me that time.
Oh yeah. But Adanac is, of course, there's a Adanac ski resort or whatever in Ontario, right? I think somewhere.
Yeah.
And then there's and Adanac is just Canada spelled backwards. So
they still make Robo Hop
next week.
They still make Robo Hop once or twice a year, although usually it's the New England variety, and that's my lesser version of Robo Hop. I much prefer their old school pale ale that tastes like you're just biting into a pine tree. Not that I've ever done that, but
I mean, I would recommend it. I kind of did at one point in my life when I did.
At some point, I figure I'll probably ride my bike and hit a pine tree face first and get a face full of pine.
I mean, then I can remember like when I was
that kind of dry hopping.
When I was a dumb kid, and back when you could like climb trees and follow them and not break every bone in your body, kind of thing. How I used to like
back when you were made of rubber, basically, when you were a kid.
Well, yeah, I mean, it just all boils down to the fact that you're not as heavy. So, like, when the heavier you are, the more of you there is to break easily, because you fall faster. But
you hit the ground harder.
Yeah, but I used to climb like trees that are too tall to be climbing, and sometimes pine trees and shit like that because you're a kid. You don't care about like getting fucking tree gum and sap and shit all through your fucking clothes. And
I was gonna say, the one time I climbed a really tall pine tree in front of our old house, I had so much sap on me, it was fucking gross.
But I can remember a couple times where you get up there and those branches aren't particularly good on those trees, so like you step on the wrong one and it just bends and snaps, and then you're on your way down.
I have to buy more of this shit more often.
Yeah, one step on where you are.
I used to be able to get it, like, but it's rare. This is like the only and Erdinger are like the commonly available Hefeweizens I can get here.
Yeah, those are the canned ones now. I mean, I don't know. To me, Weihenstephaner is still kind of the gold standard, but I mean, you almost can't go wrong with a Belgian wheat beer. But I mean, still, like, I have done a taste test. Yeah, this one I was
German, Mr. Ashley Sexton. It's a Hefeweizen, not a wit.
Oh yeah, there we go. Oh yeah, fuck. Ashley brought a wit. Was it he brought a heft to a wit fight?
Yeah,
it was one or the other. He brought like. He brought like I forget if we did Hefeweizens that night and everybody else got it right except for him, and then he argued about it. I feel it's
still in the wheat category. Yeah, admittedly, like it's like you guys said it was a military battle, and like you guys all brought your AK-47.
Well, it's kind of like after that, I was just like, well, okay, I'm not going to specifically go for styles anymore. Like I was just thinking, like, okay. Hefeweizen, we're gonna do Hefeweizen, not specifically wheat beers, the German style, and then brings a Belgian wheat beer to it. And I'm like, that's just try to argue that to some people.
Came back.
Yeah, we lost Sexton came back for a while, but I don't think the damage is done.
Well, thank God that nobody brought an alcoholic beer to a non-alcoholic beer event.
Yeah, what kind of fucking half retarded Frenchman would do that?
Holy fuck!
It can't be Radar. Retard. If you're watching Radar High, you're not watching.
Warning: alcohol can cause lifelong harm to your baby.
Jesus.
I mean, if you feed it alcohol while it's growing up, yeah, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you shouldn't put alcohol in the bottle, even though it does make them sleep better.
It really does.
Man, that's so good. I wish more breweries would make Hefeweizens. This is a style that I fucking miss. And you don't even see wheat beers all that much anymore. Like, what happened? Like, where's all the fucking wheat beers?
They're to stop the fucking juicy New England IPAs and sours and stuff kind of pushed them out of the market for the most part.
Even the hazies are kind of disappearing. It's all about lagers and pale ales nowadays. It's kind of gotten back to the
seltzers
we can sell.
Yeah,
seltzers take a massive amount of shelf space. I mean, yeah, wheats just aren't that popular. I mean, we can still get the general German ones and
seltzers.
Like we can still get the more popular German and Belgian ones, but almost like GLB has a wheat beer now that, I mean, it's not all the time, but and it's actually quite good. The last batch I wasn't that impressed with, but
yeah,
it's like breweries around here just don't make them anymore. It's like, oh, this is kind of awesome that they're actually making one somewhat consistently.
I see a lot of breweries use wheat as an adjunct in another style, but I rarely ever see them do pure wheat beers anymore.
Yeah. Like sorry.
No, I was just gonna say quickly, I have a soft spot for wheat beers because that's kind of, I mean, granted it was Rickard's White, so it was a basic bitch wheat beer, but that was kind of the beer that got me off of like macro lagers into actually like enjoying crafty things.
I feel like Rickard's was the gateway for a lot of people, whether it be the red or the white. And briefly they had the
white shirt.
The Rickard's Dark or whatever that was supposed to be their porter.
Oh, that Rickard's, it was like their porter. The Rickard's Dark was pretty good, actually. I remember that one, liking that one.
Yeah, I liked that one a lot.
It was like around 2010, I think that came out.
Sure,
something like that. Anyway, yeah, but one of my cycling friends, I was even riding with tonight. She's been complaining that she can't find any wheat beers. And I'm like, what do you mean there's no wheat beers? And I looked at an NB Liquor this weekend, and I'm like, here's a wheat beer. Here's a wheat beer. Sent her a couple options to try, but it was just like getting hard to find. Like, there's only 3 fucking wheat beers. This, I suppose there's Eardinger. I didn't count that one. Eardinger's kind of bland. There's like Pickeroon's Doria, and then there was a new one from some other brewery. But it was just like, how come there's only so many wheat beers? Like, what's wrong with wheat beers? Like, why are like people not buying or drinking them anymore?
It's what's popular, right? What's going to sell the most, and
I mean, face it, honestly, like there's all this favoritism now towards and it's both a good thing and a bad thing because it pushes the international stuff off the shelves. But there's this favoritism towards homegrown products now, especially macro products. So like when you walk into my NSLC, it's not so much that like beers are being pushed out in favor of seltzers, because the seltzers are nowhere near the beer wall in my NSLC. Like we've got like two whole like walls basically that are in the walk-in cooler that are three actually that are all fucking beer. One of them is all craft beer. One of them is a mix of craft beer and macro, and then another one's all kind of macro. But it's just it's not a style that a lot of North American breweries even really make anymore, unless, like I said, they're using it as an adjunct in something else, or they're doing like a fruit wheat beer kind of thing, like a raspberry wheat or something like that. But even then, a lot of the times they're only going to do those seasonals these days. Because that's more like a summer spring kind of beer, honestly, when you think about it. And wheat beers themselves are kind of more like summery spring kind of beers.
Yeah, I hear that. I guess a wheat beer is typically a summery kind of beer, but
yeah, I'd love to have, like, in my ideal NSLC, there would be a whole wall that's just international shit. Then we have our wall already that's all fucking craft stuff. If we had a whole wall that was international shit, it would be great, because then you could get all these European wheat beers in theory, and we'd be satisfied. Then you could get some like really great Hefeweizens and stuff. Because I miss a really great Hefeweizen. Like Propeller used to make a really excellent Hefeweizen,
like
but they don't
going
make
with that. I feel like we used to be able to get like a good selection of international beers, and that's really kind of atrophied.
Yeah, I mean, like the fact that if I want to get Chimay, I got to pay out the ass for it and have it delivered to me from like Bishop's Cellar or something like that, as opposed to like I could walk into my NSLC and get like 2 of the 4 different Chimays readily available to me, and get the Grand Reserve in the big fucking bottles. Like I used to be able to just walk in. And buy a fucking big bottle of fucking Chimay Grand Reserve for like $10-11 or something like that. And
it's like $10 at your NS, and that was the expensive beer on the shelf.
Yeah,
I mean, it's still $10 a bottle. It's expensive, but it's not as outrageous today as it was then. No, but you got yourself a fucking great beer.
And that's a beer that, like, I can say has, at least in the time I could still get it, which was a good period of like 10 to 15 years or whatever. That one never went down in quality. That was always consistently great. And it even got better when, I took the time to actually age that and shit. But
that was your aging experiment you did on that. Was the aging experiment the reason why I started aging beers? Watching your success on that, decided to try it for myself.
Don't use me as an excuse for why you forget your beers in your back room and then drink them super old. That's a different thing than an aging experience.
You know what the fucked up part is that there is a beer that I still have from back then that I saved. I'm like, hey, I could probably age this. So I got a 2011 bottle of La Fin de Monde.
You better drink that, maybe.
It's probably past its prime.
Maybe, but
it's fine.
It might still be drinkable.
I'll give it to Brandon. Speaking of Brandon, I like Blue Moon Belgian White.
Yeah.
I want to find. Why is Nick afraid of old beer? Just open it and try it. What's the worst that'll happen? It's not milk. It'll be fine.
Friend Tommy in Halifax introduced me.
Or fucking send it to me. I will happily drink it. I'll do it on camera too.
I wish we could still get Hoegaarden. Sorry.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can't get real Hoegaarden anymore anyway. Because real Hoegaarden doesn't exist anymore. Like they changed the recipe since they got bought out and everything. So, I mean, there's examples of that happening where big breweries come into countries, buy up the local brewery, change your recipe, and then of course that also just happens within the same country. So you get like your Molson Labatt go around buying up regional breweries, eventually changing the recipe, even though they say they're not going to, changing the filtration system, whatever they do, to make it noticeably not the same beer that you had when you were, 20 years ago drinking it as a kid or whatever. But then you get the more alarming trend these days of international brands that are under the same consortium of beers, under the same umbrella, this portfolio of beers. We're not going to ship fucking Modelo Especial. We're not going to ship that from Mexico. You think we're fucking crazy? We're just going to take the time to develop a facility and brew it here. So it's going to somewhat be the same beer because we'll use the recipe, sure. But I mean, the ingredients are probably going to be sourced from somewhere else. The water's going to be different. The filtration system, the tanks, everything's going to be different. So you're not going to get the authentic Modelo Especial, but you get Modelo Especial in name at the very least. And we see that with all kinds of brands. I mean, they did that with fucking Blue Moon. It came to Canada, became Belgian Moon. And, you know, it started being brewed here.
Amsterdam owns the patent.
Yeah. So like, you know, and we've seen that many a time where the beer like Coors Banquet, when it first came to Canada, it was still authentic Coors Banquet brewed in the U.S., but they
brewed in the Rockies.
Yeah, but they quickly changed that. They quickly changed it and made it Coors original or whatever it's called.
Oh yeah,
whatever.
I think it's called original now.
Yeah. I mean, at least you can still buy it. I think NB Liquor's still got Coors Original in bottles, but I don't think it's those stubby bottles that Coors Banquet came in for years.
Yeah, coworker I worked with, he was obsessed with. All he wanted to drink is Coors Banquet, and he always wanted in the stubby bottles, and that was it. He was actually really excited because the open bar at my wedding had Coors Banquet in stubby bottles, so he was excited as fuck by that.
I mean, I'll fully admit that. I do still sometimes side with aesthetic value when it comes to beer bottles and stuff like that. Like I know everything I know and believe says yes, cans are all 100% better. They preserve the beer better. They're easier to cool, faster to cool, easier to store, easier to transport. But at the same time, there's nothing like having like a bottle of Grolsch in the green glass bottle with
the swing top.
With the swing top that is gotten a little skunky because it's set out in the fucking like that was my first presentation of Grolsch.
Yeah.
And that is what stuck in my fucking head.
What?
And imprinted on my DNA almost for the rest of my life.
Yeah, that had like its character imparted due to the way that the beer was served, and that's like the sense of nostalgia. I think when you go back and you drink something like that. And also, I gotta say, like I love like even this is kind of maybe a bit more basic than how Miller High Life used to be. This is still a pretty cool fucking label job they got in this, and a cool bottle. And Soul is the same way.
Yeah, Miller's got a very like retro label design. That's for sure.
There's a certain aspect to like, you know, aesthetic appeal that, you know, sometimes goes against common sense.
Yeah.
I was going to give a car example, but Lee wouldn't get it. So, I mean, like, you know, but in general, like, you know, you might buy something that's like, it doesn't make sense to buy it. It's more expensive. It's less practical, but it's like, it's just more fun than, you know, it's kind of the same thing with cans. Like cans make sense in every logical way, but there's a certain coolness of, oh, this has a cool painted bottle and it cost me 3 times as much. And yeah, it's probably a little skunky, but it's cool.
Yeah, no, I've never really enjoyed Grolsch outside of the swing top bottles. I've tolerated it, but I've never enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed.
I know they had Grolsch in the can, but I don't think I really want it out of the can. No. It's like Stella. Like I'd like Stella out of those green bottles, or Heineken.
Yeah, Heineken.
And I mean, I would argue like if you're drinking it from the vessel, there's drinking from a can or a bottle it's a different drinking experience.
It is, yeah. I mean, if I'm getting into a can, I'm not drinking it in a can. I'm pouring it. A bottle, sometimes that's a different story. Because sometimes, like Grolsch, if I get it in the bottles, I'm probably actually drinking it out of the bottle. I'm probably not going to pour it.
Generally, if it's a beer I don't care that much for, I will often drink it from the bottle or the can. Like, for instance, like, you know, if I'm drinking one of my wife's Coors Light, I usually won't pour that unless it's for a photo or something. I'll just drink it from the can or a seltzer for that matter. I have seltzers for the pool just because if I drink 6 of them, I don't feel like shit versus drinking 6 beers. I don't like seltzers that much, so I just drink it from the can. And
seltzers don't have the personality that beers have.
No, they don't. But
no,
at the same time, I've learned my lesson the hard way that drinking a bunch of beers in the sun lead to a good evening. Whereas and usually I'll buy like 4% seltzers or whatever, so it's like the super girliest of girly drinks. So I can knock back 6 of them and still feel okay in the evening. So
yeah, no, it's like the equivalent of having some like low alcohol mimosas that you're sipping on all day kind of thing. It's kind of the same difference, Although a lot more flavor in mimosas than in seltzers.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not buying seltzers because of the delicious flavor, and I mean, I always try. My belief is you're always better off just fucking buying the mix and buying the vodka. But much like our good friend Nick there, when he tried to make gin and tonics, I too am a heavy pourer. So I have to make
I had to do that again. I just got half a bottle of gin here.
I think I'm making like half and half. So it's awful.
Wow, that might be. Geez, you might be a worse offender than Lady Lee is then, because when she does her gins and tonics, woof. I can remember many a late night hangout where all she'd have is like fucking gin and tonic and fruit and stuff to like mix together, and she'd put a big load of fruit in there, but then it's like, oh, I think I put too much gin in this, and did she just continue sipping on it? It's like, you're not going to correct it? No, I think I just put too much gin in this.
No, listen, okay. when you over pour, you just have to accept it.
Yeah,
you can't fix it. If it's 50% gin, what are you going to do? I mean, I also am the type of person where I like my often gin is something where I'm like, I could sip this on its own, maybe with a piece of ice or something, but I do like a little tonic just to do so. I tend to want to have a very high ratio of gin to tonic because, when you do it, when it almost, especially with certain gins, if they disappear in it, it's like, I don't feel I'm really getting my enjoyment out of it. That's why actually a lot of cheap gins like Gordy's or Beefeater, I actually find are very good in a gin and tonic because they're strong and like the flavor in them is strong. And it's like, whereas you get a subtle one like Bombay Sapphire, for instance, which is actually a nice gin on its own. You kind of throw it in a piece of ice. It's not bad, but it disappears in gin and tonic. Same thing with Hendrick, which is really good gin, but I wouldn't want to mix it with a gin and tonic because it just disappears.
Well, I mean, Bombay Sapphire it overpowers everything because it's got so many botanicals in it. Like it's really, Bombay Sapphire is really just like
it's liqueur. Very floral.
It's more of a liqueur than it is an actual spirit at that point. Almost.
Yeah, although I do find it does disappear in a gin and tonic, at least if you do it in the proper ratio that you're supposed to. Like I find it doesn't. Yeah. It's not strong enough to really stand up. I mean, that's why I like my favorite is still like for kind of like bang for buck, which is like a decent quality gin, is Tanqueray. That to me is still kind of the best value for money. But again, if you're on a budget, Beefeater or Gordy's, I think are both very acceptable for mixing with tonic.
The local craft distilled gin I get here, I can't think of the fucking name of it right at the moment, but is very much like Tanqueray or Beefeater, like along those lines, much more
Gentulia.
Yeah.
Didn't do you? Well, I was
Polish, right?
Going to wait till after Lee said stuff about his local craft. This is the local craft gin that I get here. Gentulia Silver. This is like the I think virgin oak barrel gin that they make. Like they make a normal gin, and the silver is aged in wood barrels.
Oh,
but this stuff's fucking good, but it's super botanical. Like loads of juniper berries, almost like not quite like piney, but it's got that very floral, very, very spicy. And this is the stuff I used to make the gin and tonics that I used. I got like half a bottle of this. I really should get some more limes.
Oh, so you got at least 2 more gin and tonics there. If you go easy on it.
Yeah, like I don't have any limes, so I could make a gin and tonic tonight. I have some more tonic. I just don't have any limes. Like,
I don't know if you guys get this. It's a locally Canadian made gin, and apparently they claim that color you see that looks. My back, yeah, okay. My internet's a little iffy out here. Apparently they claim all the color is natural. It's from the botanicals. It's not colored at all. So whatever. It's really good. I've tried that gin, but it's like, I just find it hard to be like, well, if I'm just going to mix this, I got my, $32 bottle of Tanqueray. or my $50 bottle of
gin on the wall, 32 bottles of gin.
$32 of bottles of gin, but versus the $50 bottle of the craft stuff, and I'm just like, I'm gonna mix it anyway. I'm not too sure I want to spend the extra money, but
yeah, we get the Ungava. We got the Ungava Premium.
What does it cost where you're at?
$41.63 for a 750.
That may actually be cheaper than our price.
Yeah, I get Ungava here. It's $43 here.
Okay, so mine's $40.50, so I'm like $1 cheaper than Lee and a couple bucks cheaper than it. And absolutely, if you want to like spend a little bit more and get a bottle of gin, it's absolutely delicious. I don't know if it's gonna be as good as Nick's fucking barrel aged one, probably not, but it is really good. But yeah, it's kind of like don't want to spend the money. Although for some reason I thought it was more expensive than that.
Yeah, floral juniper tea flavor.
Yeah, this 750 is cheap. It's $34.99 for 750, and it's super. Like I said, super botanical.
I would definitely try that because gin can be very interesting. I mean, essentially, gin just ends up being flavored vodka, but there's a lot of good gins out there.
Aged for a year in an oak barrel.
There we go.
That's pretty fucking cool. If it's cheaper than your standard gins, and yet it's and I guess this Gin Thuya won an award or something. Anyway, I forget it. Like it's an international spirits award.
What is something like kind of like not basic but basic premium like I may have to move my laptop if I keep cutting out like that. Yeah. I was gonna say, how much does something like Tanqueray or like Bombay Sapphire cost where you're at?
For me, Bombay, for a 750 is $33, and we can get up to what's the highest size we get here?
You get the handles.
I get 1.75 liters at $69. Tanqueray.
How do you spell Tanqueray?
Tanquarey.
Yeah. Tanqueray is around 36. Well, let's see. No, weird. The specialty Tanqueray is $36. Tanqueray London Dry, just the classic one, is $33. So that's not bad for $750.
So your prices are pretty similar. I think your Tanqueray is slightly more expensive. I think we're at $32 for Tanqueray. I think we're at like $34, $35 for Bombay. So I think your Bombay is actually cheaper than ours. And I think if you're talking about the is it like the what is it, the Tank 10 or something, the Tanqueray, the special one? That one is I think
we got Tanqueray 10, we got Tanqueray Rangpur.
And Rangpur. I've never tried the Rangpur.
And we got Tanqueray Flor de Sevilla.
Tanqueray 10 is quite good, although they add a lot of citrus to the Tanqueray. It's more of a grapefruit citrus. From what I remember, it's been like 10 years since I've had a bottle. But it was good from what I remember, but I guess it just depends whether you want that citrus component or not.
Yeah, the one I'm sorry there, Nick, just quick. The one I usually buy, my local one, is from the Nova Scotia Spirit Company, and they're willing to learn gin. The 750 is $35, and does the job.
That seems to be the going rate for like a good, like a decent gin. $35 for a 750. Because that's what Bombay Sapphire is here. Tanqueray is $33.50 for the standard London Dry, and then we get the Florida Sevilla, Rangpur. And Florida Sevilla and Rangpur are both $34.50, and then Tanqueray 10 is $51 on. Is it on sale or clearance? No.
That's a problem. The Tanqueray 10 is probably not worth the price increase. Like it is really good from what I remember, but I don't know if I'd almost pay like double what a regular Tanqueray costs. So not quite double, but quite a bit more. Also, Brandon's comment looks like he gets really fucked up when he goes camping.
He mixes 4-liter jugs when I go somewhere to the night camping all day and night parties. I mix carbonated water in my soda stream machine, vodka, and Mio Squirt flavoring.
Jesus!
Wow, dude,
that is.
I don't get as hungover constantly drinking the water and vodka. The water is white rum versus 10 or 20 beers.
He's also in his 30s. Believe me, once you hit late 30s, early 40s,
Brandon's like 11 years
things will change. I'm still somebody who luckily does not get very many hangovers, but I do now get them occasionally, and it's unfortunate because I like my immunity.
Joint while it lasts, Brandon. You got a wall coming in about 5 or 6 years, bro.
Hit that big 4-0.
My biggest thing is I have to watch like my consumption of IPAs, because even if I don't get shit faced, but say I drink like 3 IPAs in a night, my stomach the next day is gonna say, nah, don't do that, bud. Don't do that, bro.
Nah, bro.
Man, mixing Mio Squirt with.
I don't even know what Mio Squirt is, so I'm just gonna assume it's some sex thing.
No, it's just one of those little flavoring things.
Oh, those flavor things. Okay.
I started when I hit about 25, hello, but since I cut down on beer and cut out pop, I've been a lot better. Yeah, no, beer and pop fucking, especially pop, it's just like, if you're drinking pop all day, you're in a bad way. Like, you're looking for diabetes early on.
Diabetes.
Well, the cleaner, whatever you put into yourself, like, basically, like, the healthiest thing if you're going to drink, which is not healthy, but vodka soda is generally your basic. It's like, you're basically just clear. No, I am basic, but basically just get your clear liquids into you. I mean, I could drink quite a few of those before I'd feel it.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, I do like a little bit more flavor when I drink. So.
Mm-hmm. That's the thing. It's like, you can drink really, really clean if you want to not have much fun with it, but
Yeah, like I'm a big fan of a Jack and Ginger. Not a healthy drink at all, and you have too many of them, you won't feel great. But I just love. I mean, everyone does like the Jack and Crown or whatever, but I'm like, no. I want to
jacking off.
I want to. Well, it doesn't have to necessarily be Jack, but it can be any bourbon. And yes, don't go at me. I know Jack's not technically a bourbon, but it's pretty close.
It's totally a bourbon. I'm of the side of the camp that goes Jack Daniels or a bourbon. I don't care how special
they're very close. They go through a flavoring process, which supposedly doesn't count. But honestly, like, unless you have a very well advanced palate, I could throw a bourbon in front of you and Jack's, and you'd probably be hard pressed to really tell the difference. Jack's is not great to sip on its own, but it's fantastic to mix.
That's the thing. It's more of a commercial, like, party whiskey, I guess, is the best way to put it. I can see why, like, other bourbons don't want to be associated with them, even though they are a bourbon, because they're kind of a crappy bourbon when it comes down to it. But
oh yeah, for sure they are. But I mean, they're on the level of like Jim Beam, Jim Beam or Jim Beam Black or something like that.
Oh man, I would take Jim Beam any day over Jack Daniels, especially if I'm going to mix. I think.
Well, you know what? Once we're allowed to have it in Ontario again, I will buy a bottle of each and I'll do a taste test comparison, because it's been forever since I've had Jim Beam White.
I think Jim Beam is really good in whiskey mixed cocktails. I think it does a better job in cocktails than as far as Jack Daniels go. For me, it's like, okay, Jack and Coke I get because the flavors complement each other so much, but like just about everything else, I don't think it works as well. Whereas like a Jim Beam's so like dialed back as a bourbon as it is. It's such a basic bitch bourbon that like it's the same concept as having like a low botanical gin in your cocktail kind of thing. Fair enough.
Yeah, it's Jack's is. I don't mind a Jack and Coke. Here's the thing: is I actually like Coke. I don't drink very much of it because I try to avoid pop for the most part. Yeah. But I love like a Diet Coke. Sorry, not a Diet Coke. What the fuck am I saying? No, a regular Coke. Definitely not a Diet Coke. I'll take Coke Zero over Diet Coke, but regular Coke's the best. I'll drink one of those. Like if I'm having like a nice meal, like a steak meal or something, I want a Coke with it. I'm just assuming I'm not going to go something alcoholic, and I prefer not to drink alcohol with my food. So I'm like, yeah, we get a regular Coca-Cola on ice, all that good shit. But I don't like to mix Coke because I find it, when you mix it with bourbon, I find it just gets too sweet for me. I'm just like, whereas I find the ginger ale kind of isn't quite as sweet as the Coke, and it kind of, I prefer the combination of even a Canadian whiskey, but Canadian whiskey kind of gets lost in it unless it's a real rye, and that's a little bit better. Anyways, all the things about Greg you didn't want to know.
There's lots of things about Greg that we didn't want to know, but we don't want anyway. So, Brandon's talking like he could be on the chat tonight, but he's. So Jack is rougher. Do you like it occasionally? A buddy of mine last year brought for New Year's, Gentleman Jack.
Yeah, Gentleman Jack's a lot smoother than regular, although it does lose a lot of flavor. I mean, my whole thing with Jack Daniels, my preferred way, if you're not going to mix it, you want to sip it, and it is sippable, but it needs a little modification. So what I do, you take a nice big ice cube, biggest one you have, put it in there, dump the Jacks, and basically fill it to the top of the ice cube. What you do, start enjoying it. Once you notice the whiskey's starting to get too watered down, you take that ice cube, you throw it away, and then you just enjoy the rest of it. And then it's watered down to the point where you've taken away the harshness of it, and it's still actually a very flavorful whiskey.
Yeah.
And people shit on Jacks all the time. I think it's actually a pretty good product for what it is, especially at the price point.
So okay, I love Sailor Jerry's with Coke or whiskey and Coke. Yeah, you know what? That's good. Haven't had a pop in a long time. Occasionally I get one or two at a bar and for a night switch it up. Captain Morgan spiced rum, Coke or whiskey spiced rum with sausage. You know what I do like is, and I haven't had this in a long time, is Coke. And you ever have Captain Morgan private stock?
No.
Yeah, Scott used to buy the private stock all the time, and that stuff was fucking good.
They had it at duty free, but I never tried it. I've just had the regular. I think I've only had the regular Captain Morgans. I mean,
Captain Morgan private stock's pretty good.
I think I've only had the basic bitch Cap Morgans.
I'm weird with rum where I usually don't like. I usually want to buy a higher quality rum that I don't want to mix. I never find anything that I really, really like to mix with rum. So I'd rather spend a little bit more money, buy like an El Dorado, like a 12, 15, 21 if I want to splurge. And then I just want to have it on its own or with just like a little piece of ice or something.
Yeah.
I just I don't know, like rum and Coke for me and rum and most things, it just doesn't work very well.
I think I bought a bottle of El Dorado 12 last year. That was good shit.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's like such a amazing bang for buck rum. Yeah. I mean, the 15 is arguably better. The 21 is definitely better, but you pay a lot more for them. So, again, if you're paying for buck, returns. Yeah, it absolutely is. Like the 12 is the best one if you're not won't splurge. The 12 is absolutely the best bang for. I don't know what it costs now. It used to be $30 a bottle. I'm sure it's not anymore, but it's that was fucking fantastic. I mean, all that stuff was cheap. Even the fucking 21 was only $65 a bottle at the LCBO, and I think it's now something like $150 a bottle when they even have it.
When I was like, I've never been a big rum and Coke fan necessarily. Like I've had a fair share of them or whatever, just because that's what was going on or whatever. Friends had rum and Coke. It's like, okay, I'll have it or whatever. Or it's an easy thing to order at a bar, whatever. But for the most part, like especially back in the day when I could still like, I'm especially thinking like late teens, early 20s when I could like drink like a fucking demon. I was just doing like pint bottles of rum, and then like on top of that, like upwards of 6 to 8 beers or something, or even more a night, whatever. And I was totally fine. I wasn't mixing the rum with anything. So
yeah, I mean, I used to be a big fan of rum and Coke as well, but yeah, I find like sweet on sweet is just a little bit much. One thing which I used to like when I was younger, it's kind of gross when you think about it now, although it actually tastes better than you think it does, was whiskey mixed with milk.
Ew, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What kind of monster are you? What the fuck, Greg?
Think of it like chocolate milk, but with an edge.
I don't know. I don't know if that works.
That's a worse edge in the band, you too.
I mean, granted, You know what? I wish I don't.
No, I like you too, but still.
I could actually. Well, I don't think that we have very much milk left because my wife uses it in her coffee. One of these days, when we have more milk, I will mix it with whiskey on camera, and we'll see how it tastes. That'll be exciting. I'm gonna leave Nick all alone and go get myself something else to drink. Also, my underwear is stuck to my ass. It's still fucking hot out here. Oh my gosh!
You're getting muggy city. Your underwear is stuck to your taint. You know what? I'm gonna put myself up front, right, and center here, and I'm gonna sit here drinking my beer while I'm all fucking distracted because I'm tired because it's been a long week at work. I'm betraying my best friend Scott with a moose head. Although Greg could also be my best friend. So is Lee. But they're online. Love those guys, but
I mean, Nick, listen, no doubt you're a shitty friend, but at the same time, it's not like Scott's here right now. So
it's true. I can talk behind his back as much as I want. So fuck that guy.
Plus, what do you mean? Oh, they're just online. I bet you in real life.
We know each other in real life too. It's not like you're over in Nova Scotia. We can.
You, Lady Lee, and I saw the sights of New Brunswick.
We did. You guys seemed to have a good time when you visited.
Yeah.
I didn't care for the food at the restaurant I picked, but in retrospect, that was a bad place to go.
Well, to be fair, you also picked a lot of really good restaurants. So there was one out of like the 10 we did or whatever.
I was gonna say, it looked like you guys had a pretty fucking good time eating there. So I would say I think Nick did a good job as host.
No, yeah, I think I picked. There's like 4 places. I think Lily's, the one that was on that lake. I think Scott might have picked that one, but I would have been suggested that one anyway. I remember taking you up to Billy's Seafood Uptown. That I should say was a great fucking seafood restaurant. It's gone now. They closed down last year.
Lady Lee destroyed their food.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. They never. I mean, the whole ocean never really recovered.
And Deluxe French Fries makes a fucking great fish and chips for being like a hole in the wall, like New Brunswick franchise chain.
Yep.
I'm surprised that there's no more. Like, there's a bunch of like Deluxe French Fries around New Brunswick, like St. John, New Brunswick, St. John, Moncton, and Fredericton, but they're just strictly regional. But they're like a chain of greasy spoons, and they're fucking great. Although I wish they still made their breakfast.
They remind me of the Jesse's Pizza franchise that we have here, and I guess it's in Ontario as well, as far as I know. But
I think you mentioned. I think we had this conversation, but I have to look up where I can get a Jesse's Pizza.
The only one we struck out was. Sorry,
I was just going to say I know there's places because when I order online, it makes you put in your address, and then it gives you like a list of places to pick address wise. Like there's 703 Central Avenues. Oh, I just doxed myself. Oops. There's several of those in different places. So it's like, yeah, there's a bunch of like Ontarios that are 703 Central Avenues or whatever. So
yeah, let's have a look. There does seem to be one in Toronto. I just want to see if I can Jesse's Pizza. Let's see if we can go to locations.
I bet they even have a bigger menu too, because when you first go in to order online, before like you start the order, and it's like got its base menu there in front of you or whatever. But when you go in to pick something, then it asks you your location. Then you change it, and all of a sudden, oh shit! Like 20 things went off the fucking menu for me. So like, I guess they got like a much deeper like Indian themed, Central Asian themed cuisine on like their main like Ontario menu, for example.
Well, that would actually make sense because we have I'm assuming we probably have a much higher East Indian population than you do.
Yeah, although ours is really growing here. Just recently in the last year, 2 years or so, a lot of them have come. I think mostly from Toronto. Actually, a lot of them have come in here.
Yeah, because they either can't find housing at all, or some slumlords in Brampton fucking stick like 20 families into a house and just say, yeah, give us $2,000 a month of rent.
Yeah, a ton of them have come in here and have like scraped up all the like kind of old franchises that have been sitting around in town that have been kind of like failing, and also we got a letter from like the town council where they were going to vote on turning a place in behind the local Lebanese restaurant that I frequent once in a while, Mimi's Pizza here, just down the street from me. They have like a whole like apartment complex behind it now, kind of, and they're like, can we rezone this to like have more, can we rezone it to have more people and stuff? And like I think that's probably going to be where like a lot of these people who own the franchise now, the East Indians that own the franchises, would end up living, kind of thing.
I don't know where it is now, but when I'm trying to search for Jesse's Pizza in Ontario, it doesn't seem that they exist here. It looks, they say they're
JESSYS.
Yeah, that's the one I'm looking at. There is a Jesse's. Hold on, let me see if it's Jesse's Pizza. They don't actually say it's just, no, it's a women's clothing store because Jesse's permanently closed. No, it looks like
Jesse's girl.
Looks like they were in Ontario because I mean I can like when I go Jesse's like on Google Maps, they're showing the closest ones to me are all in Nova Scotia.
Oh really? Okay, so maybe they were in Ontario and they've just kind of like moved out of Ontario.
That's what it kind of looks like because it doesn't seem that I can't even find any closed locations in them. They're not in Niagara Falls. Mm-hmm. Sometimes a lot of these franchises will go to like I remember Fuddruckers when they came into Canada. I don't even know if they're still in Canada, but they wanted to experiment coming into Canada. So they went into like some weird buttfuck nowhere locations, like in I think Alberta or Manitoba or something. Like it was just like I guess it was just cheap way to get themselves into Canada. But you know. Okay,
so when I'm looking at the online order thing, and this just might end up being out of date, so who knows? But there's a bunch of locations in Halifax. And then there's a bunch like outside of outside the Halifax area in Nova Scotia. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There's like 14 locations, I guess, outside of Halifax. But it says Manitoba. There's at least one in Manitoba. And there's one in Windsor. I assume that's Windsor, Ontario. Maybe that's Windsor, Nova Scotia. Okay, so maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, maybe it was around. It just didn't do very well.
Yeah, but either way, they're a good little. And Brandon saying here, I love Jesse's Pizza in Halifax. I mean, at the very least, if they're spread all over all of the Maritimes, they're still pretty big.
Yeah, I don't even know we have a Jesse's Pizza in like anywhere in New Brunswick that I know of. I know there's not one around St. John area.
Google Maps shows
there's a chain of there's apparently a chain of pizzerias called Jack's Pizza. I think it's like a pizzeria from Moncton, and they just opened a location here in Rothesay.
Brandon saying, I think they're Halifax based. Maybe they tried to expand. Yeah, but that might have been it. They might have like tried to expand in other provinces and. Didn't take because I mean the competition to try if you were starting off in Nova Scotia and you tried to expand to Ontario, I imagine the competition would just be like just immense. Like there must be like a million like small little pizza and
there's quite a few places that are competing in.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. We're back. I got chased down to the basement because of the fucking mosquitoes. Hopefully my internet will start working better down here, but we'll see.
Yeah.
The problem with Ontario is that Ontario has an awful lot of, well, obviously we got the cheap pizza places, so your big name brands. And there's an awful lot of really good pizza places that are like stupidly expensive. It's like, oh, large pizza, $45. That seems a bit much. So there aren't, at least that I know of, maybe foodies would probably know better than I do, but Ontario seems to have a problem with places that make good pizza that are like better pizza than a chain brand, but are still sort of reasonable with their pricing. I don't find too many of places that you can get that kind of thing.
Salvatore's is the big one that stands out. Sorry.
I was just going to say, Jesse's prices are pretty good. I found them pretty reasonable. Like I always end up paying a little extra because I'm always like ordering through like their delivery series, delivery system or whatever. So like I'm always paying like an extra $5-10 plus tip or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Kind of thing.
Look at Jesse's pizza menu. The prices actually look pretty reasonable. They're more expensive than like Domino's, but still it's decent.
And they have
hope so.
It's not like $26.99 for a medium pizza, like what Dan pays for his.
Yeah, and I mean they have like if you look at their menu, they have a lot of options, like just an amazing amount of options. And also, I will say, like my local Jesse's, they're really good. They're really customer attentive, customer forward kind of business. So like even today, so I ordered a donair for someone at my house, and they got it like when you order donairs off their website, they don't automatically come with cheese. That's like an extra option if you add it to it. They added the cheese by mistake. They called up and said, "We added cheese to your donair. Is that okay? We're not going to charge you for it. It was a fuck up. We fucked up." It was like, yeah, cheese it up, bitch. Bring it on.
Free cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's just if you're like lactose intolerant, that they have to like remake it for you. But
yeah, but I mean, and I'll say, no fast food business is perfect or whatever. But whenever they fuck up, and we say, oh, you missed something or you forgot something, they make it right. If we order something and they don't have it, they find a substitute kind of thing. Like they're always really, really good, like getting in touch with the customer and letting them know kind of thing. So like the Jesse's here, nothing but praise for their business. Pretty good stuff.
Brandon says Jesse's pizza, the garlic fingers are really good.
Yep.
Not picky, I'll eat any pizza and garlic fingers, but if I go to a place and get not great garlic fingers, I probably won't buy them again. Find Jesse's is really good pizza and garlic fingers every time. Brandon knows this place, but you probably like Julius Pizza uptown. It's pretty fucking good. Especially when you're drunk.
There's nothing worse than like bad garlic fingers, because either your garlic fingers have like a lot of good flavor, or they're just like bland, soggy shit with some cheese and a little bit of garlic on them, and that stuff is just like I've had too many examples of like pizza places that have just like really bad garlic fingers that are just like they're an afterthought. They're just like, oh, we're gonna put some cheese on some fucking pizza dough, and we're gonna sprinkle a little bit of garlic on it, and that's it. And it's like, no, that stuff is garbage. Yeah, there you go.
There's a newish place. It's sort of a franchise. I think they have a few locations, but it's sort of like a bougie pizza franchise called North of Brooklyn. It's actually one like literally like walking distance from our old condo, right beside the sushi restaurant that Lady Lee loves and Carrie not so much. And yeah, so we've gotten them a few times. They're good, but it just gets stupid expensive. It's like, yeah, we got a large pepperoni mushroom pizza and their garlic knobs, which, or whatever. There's their version of garlic things. It could be. And I think it ends up being like fucking $60-65 for just those two items. I'm like, and it's good. Don't get me wrong. It's one of the best pizzas I've ever had, but I'm just like, oh, it seems just a little out of whack on pricing, like for really what it is. Like I understand you're using better ingredients, better dough, all that stuff, but it can't be that much more expensive.
There's a rat on the floor. There's a rat on the floor. Here's some gristle for you. Here's some gristle for you. Carrie's gonna complain. No Chinese for you.
No.
Listen, they gave us a half price discount. So literally, like our bill went from like $200 to like $100. there can be a fucking dead rat on the floor every time I'm there, as long as they give me that 50% discount. Like I'm totally okay with whatever slightly unsanitary conditions you may be offering me. Like,
as long as it's not in the food, as long as there ain't no rat droppings in the food, there ain't no rat in the fucking food. I don't give a fuck because
if I get a sushi roll with a rat tail, that could be problematic.
Yeah, if it's a Chinese place, you know they have fried every pathogen and disease out of that food. Like that you know, it ain't the disease that's going to kill you. It's the fucking grease in those fucking things going to kill you.
Well, the only issue I've ever had in a restaurant is that I eat too fucking much, and then I'm basically a land whale for the rest of the day. But otherwise, I have no complaints about that restaurant. Their sushi's delicious, and it's it's expensive, but I take advantage of the all you can eat.
Oh yeah, no, Chinese place, totally safe food coma is basically what you usually come to expect. So as long as the rat ain't that's standing in line with you with a plate at the buffet, that's fine.
Well, I mean, luckily it's one of those. But it's one of those all you can eats that you don't have to get in line. They serve it all to you. You just order with the iPad and stuff. It's great. But listen, I'm somebody who I like rats. I've had rats as pets. Probably wouldn't want to hang out with a sewer rat or anything. They're kind of gross. But otherwise, listen, the rat can just hang out in the kitchen. It can cut some sushi for me. I don't even mind.
There you go.
As long as it wears a hairnet, it's all good.
Oh yeah,
what the fuck, Craig?
Fun fact, my dad used to work in a veterinary pharmacy. Well, he worked in both human veterinary, but he finished off his career in veterinary. And he had a mustache for almost the whole life. He cut it about 5 years at the end of his life. But he had to wear a mustache hairnet. That I found funny.
That's great.
Yeah, because everyone had to wear full hairnets, but he had to wear the mustache hairnet as well. Because it was like, no, you have a mustache. You can't risk any hair getting into the medication.
Did he have like a big mustache? Is that what he had going on? Did he have like a Tom Selleck going on, or what?
Yeah, it was a pretty bushy mustache. I'm just like, oh, hold on, I'll show you. I mean, it's a younger picture of him, but it kind of gives you the idea. That's obviously a wedding photo of my parents. So.
Oh yeah. No, he's got like a Selleck going on.
Yeah, no, it was quite the mustache. So I mean, it was to the point where he shaved it. He shaved it for some charity thing where if they raised enough money, he shaved his mustache, and then he decided to keep it off for the rest of his life. But basically, from the time he shaved it to the time he died, which is probably at least 5 years, he had a permanent 5 o'clock shadow mustache. Like his skin was basically like changed color because he had a mustache for the 40 years of his life. Or probably longer than that, probably 60, 70 years of his life.
I can remember a few years back. So my dad has had a mustache his entire life, and I've only ever known him to have a mustache. But the funny thing is, he just for 1 year, just all of a sudden, he decided, I'm not going to have a mustache anymore. And he shaved it. And the sad thing is, none of us actually noticed, really.
Yeah, for a while you got that massive, basically 5 o'clock shadow. It's crazy.
Yeah, and it's like we just kind of didn't notice. And then he was like, "Anyone notice what I did?" It was what? What are you talking about? I shaved my mustache. Oh, he was kind of sad that no one noticed he shaved his mustache.
In the reverse, my dad's actually grown a mustache in the last couple of years. For my entire life, my dad has not had any facial hair. He's always shaved it off. For some reason, he's rocking a mustache right now.
Yeah, but now he actually looks like your father. That's the thing. I think he wants to be like, no, listen,
this is where I get the. I've had facial hair myself for almost 20 years, and my brother's recently grown a pretty decent beard. It's just weird. Seeing my dad with a mustache is just fucking weird. But I've had facial hair for half my life now at this point.
Hey, your brother looks more homeless though, because his looks more unkept than yours.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you see my you saw the picture I posted of my brother recently. And my brother's a school teacher too, so he looks like he's a homeless person teaching kids.
I mean,
today
do you really want to near your 8-year-olds?
Listen, in today's economy, he might be a homeless person teaching kids soon enough. So.
No, my brother's not home. My brother actually owns a home, unlike I do. I just live in my parents' basement.
Well,
I
eventually,
mean, we technically all here, all of us live here, live in our parents' basement, except for you guys actually own your parents' homes.
That's right. I'm a landlord.
I mean, technically, I don't
charging
own
your parents. You're charging your parents over $1,000 in rent.
But I own my mom's home technically, so I'm her landlord, and she's kind of my landlord.
Yeah,
so.
you own the house that you're in, and then you have a mortgage on your mom's house, which
I do not technically own this house. On paper, I don't own this house. So if my mom wanted to, she could evict me from this house.
Wow.
Yeah, well, your mom's not going to be a jerk to you like that way.
No, unlikely.
No.
And I mean,
you're paying the mortgage on your mom's house that she's.
Yeah, there's no mortgage on this house. I've technically paid her for this house, but we didn't switch the name because for property. Well, if I own two properties, then if I sell one of them, I get hit with capital gains tax.
Yeah.
Whereas if I own one property, I mean, the idea is, I mean, listen, nobody knows what's going to happen, but more than likely, at some point, my mom will probably have to be moved into assisted living. At which point, I'll sell her house, and then either when she dies or beforehand, I'll take possession of this property.
Oh yeah, it's a smart move. Like when your mom no longer needs her house, you're going to sell that, and you're going to be able to pocket that, and you'll inherit the house.
I mean, pocket to some degree, but I mean, again, if she's in assisted living's not free. So,
well, no, but you'll be definitely
that will go towards.
I don't think you're gonna have any issues affording it the way things are.
Well, no, I won't. But like, I mean, but selling the house will probably go towards paying for that, because I mean, depending what facility she's in, I mean, that could get expensive. I mean, there's assisted living facilities that I think are like $2,000 a month. There's ones that are $10,000 a month. So part of it is the niceness of them, but part of it is how much assistance they need, right? So
I mean, how much will they beat your mother every month?
I can see, just like yourself, Greg, your mom being pragmatic about it.
I thought you were about to say her getting she was going to be pregnant.
That's only if like Chris Lysak hooks up with Greg's mom.
That was going to be my next comment.
Even if he does, I think that ship has well sailed. I don't think that's going to happen.
There are miracles of science these days. There are things they can do.
Womb generation.
We can get some combination.
Does she still have her uterus?
Good.
Greg, you can have another Polish little brother.
I mean, to my knowledge, she does, but I don't wish to inquire with her.
Is it something you can talk to your mom about?
Hey, Mom, can you still make eggs?
I mean, 76 years old. I don't think so.
Can you have Chris Lysak's child?
You never know. Miracles of science. You things they can do with stem cells mixed with some like ancient Oriental mysticism, like tiger penis powder or whatever.
Listen. Up until now, I was totally fine with Chris Lysak dating my mother, but now you guys have convinced me that I need to abort Chris Lysak. We need to have like a whatever it works out to be 550th trimester abortion.
It's a Chris abortion.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I'm going to invite Chris to a kickboxing class at the top of the stairs of the coat hanger factory.
Oh Jesus fuck!
Well, that
I mean, where do you go from here? Like
that wow.
Sorry, Chris. Love you. Looking forward to you being my new father-in-law. But if you take any of my money, I'll kill you. But if you buy your new stepson a boat, I'll take it.
Yeah.
There you go. I just renamed the chat to Klizak Coat Hanger Factory.
Jesus.
Wow.
Christ.
Well, that escalated.
That literally escalated quickly.
Anyways, I don't have the can. I'm having Amsterdam 3-speed lager. It's 4.2%, and it's acceptably good, although nothing special.
I'm drinking another Miller High Life, and I'm quite enjoying the fuck.
I'm drinking Canadian Modelo.
Wow.
I'm thinking I might buy some more of this High Life, like in the bottle. Like,
I mean, it wouldn't betray Scott, so why not?
Mm.
Oh well, I was I needed beer and I was at the Moosehead Brewery, so I'm like, you know what? They still have Moosehead in bottles. I want to get a 12-pack.
Is
You know
that
what?
something they're
To Scott. Apparently, yeah. Like at the end of the year, Moosehead is going to be strictly all cans, and I think maybe there's a delay in that because of the tariff situation. Because aluminum cans are going to get harder to come by. And you know what? Like, I kind of don't like the idea. Like, for some reason, I've been super hooked on buying beer in glass bottles. There's just a certain aesthetic to it, and like the fact that I can buy this and I can just drink it right out of the bottle. I feel like I there's a certain aesthetic I miss about being able to I've always been a kind of guy that drinks beer out of pours it into a glass and drinks it that way. But now there's just so many cans out there that I kind of like having a beer out of a glass bottle every once in a while. And I've just been addicted to it lately since we did the Soul BA 101, and Soul comes in glass bottles here. I've just been hooked on. Well, I could just pull this right out of the fridge, drink it, and it's fucking tasty the way it is. Like the way this is presented. If it were like a craft beer, I'd probably be more I kind of want to pour that in a glass. But when this comes to a nice, easy, clean drinking lager, I'm gonna having it in the bottle is fucking refreshing. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I like drinking them this way. And Miller High Life, most of the time I can get this in cans and it's pretty good. But there's something special about drinking it out of the bottle, which you can't commonly get.
Mm-hmm.
It's like driving a stick shift in a car. Sorry, Lee, that's a car reference. But
what?
So it's like manual shifting, like it's manual beering.
Is that wait? Is manual shifting? Is he responsible for Canadian Modelo? Is he like the ambassador from Mexico?
Yeah, good old manual shifting. Yeah. I mean Shiftez, but he actually, he Canadianized his name. Yeah,
Manuel Shiftez.
But yeah, he was. He actually was one of the twins in Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. So there you go.
Oh, one of the there was Manuel. Oh, fuck, what are the guys' names? I remember the cousins.
Mm-hmm. So it wasn't Hector. Hector was the old guy.
Hector Salamanca was the old guy, and then it was the Salamanca cousins.
Yeah, I don't remember what their names were, but I figure one of them probably started the Canadian Modelo, because why not?
They were the big, scary, jacked versions of me, basically, is what they were.
Pretty much.
I mean, kinda, yeah. I've never seen Lee swing an axe, but I imagine he could do some damage.
Probably. But yeah.
Christopher. Oh no, it's somebody else. Lionel and Marco Salamanca.
Well, I would not have guessed that.
By Daniel Moncada and Louis Moncada, who are really brothers in real life.
You wouldn't have known.
Well, yeah, they obviously were twin brothers.
That sounds fantastic. I will try to, when I do my next rewatch of it, I actually want to try to get Agnes to watch it. But the problem is, the whole Breaking Bad universe, but I do feel that show does start off a little slow, and Agnes doesn't have much tolerance for slow moving shows. So
yeah, that takes a few seasons to get going.
The first season's short. The second season's kind of but when you get to the third season, it's so fucking good.
There's a part of me that, well, maybe at one point on my own, I'll do a rewatch, where I actually do it in order of the timeline. So basically start with Better Call Saul, but there's no way Agnes would be able to sit through Better Call Saul unless if she watched Breaking Bad and she really likes it, then she can manage Better Call Saul. But Better Call Saul is amazing, and it's probably the better show overall. But it does, I feel, take some time.
Better Call Saul, I think, drags a bit, and I feel like it starts off. I mean, it's a good show. I love Better Call Saul, but I feel like it didn't get really great until it starts dipping into the Gustavo Fring stuff. And that's like midway through the second season, I think.
And also the thing about Better Call Saul is that part of why it's successful is it's playing off the goodwill of Breaking Bad from people who have watched Breaking Bad, because you go into it and you noticeably see that everyone in this is like a couple years older than what they should be.
Oh yeah, for sure, yeah.
It's like, especially like Mike Ehrmantraut.
Oh yeah,
it's like
Mike Ehrmantraut looks older and better. Yeah,
he's noticeably older. So it's like
I love that. I do love the fact that they didn't steer around that. They didn't explain that. They just like ignored the whole thought.
It's just like, you love Breaking Bad, you love it so much, you're going to suspend your disbelief and just like
with
the show.
They're not going to spend a shit ton on makeup every fucking season, because
I'd rather they do that instead of get new actors, because I mean that to me would take me out of the experience. I understand in some situations you might need new actors, but generally speaking, no. If you can get the original cast, I don't care if they look older. Listen, in El Camino, you had fucking Fat Damon.
Yeah.
And people were like, okay, well, he really looks off, but whatever. It's still the original actor. So.
Yeah.
Fat Damon.
Yeah.
Yeah. But and I feel like, Bob Odenkirk really honestly didn't look that much older in Saul anyway. Like they obviously put some like hair pieces on him and stuff anyway, so it kind of evened out a lot more than like Mike was the most obvious, like egregious, like, oh shit, he's noticeably older in this.
Yeah, but he is so fucking good in Better Call Saul, though.
Oh yeah, he's great.
Like, he's a highlight role in that series, Mike Ehrmantraut. Like,
oh yeah, no,
he is so good.
Like, honestly, I was more engaged in his story in that series, where he's getting that team together to make the facility under the fucking chicken place or whatever the fuck they were doing. I think that's what they were doing, right? They were making the drug lab under the chicken place, and how he had to like manage that team, and the fucking leader of the team was unreliable, so he had to end up fucking like dealing with him and shit. Like that stuff was way more compelling than Saul.
That was. Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, that 100%. And I would actually argue, kind of exactly what Nick said, but on the other end of the spectrum. I don't think that series really got going until you got into the Gus Fring stuff, and then once you got into the end of the season, second half of season 2, once you got rid of Gus Fring and literally everyone died because Breaking Bad happened, pretty much everyone's dead. And then you're just left with Kim and Saul. And don't get me wrong, it was still really good. Still probably some of the best television ever. But I would actually say it was far less compelling than.
Oh, the ending of Better Call Saul was far less compelling than the like. I want to say that even though the season 5 started kind of weak in Breaking Bad, because of like anything they did with the post storyline with Gustavo Fring and Gustavo, and all of a sudden you see Walter White goes out on his own and starts.
You see the power vacuum, basically.
Yeah, you see the power vacuum, and then he's like at his peak, but the whole fucking descent into failure in the end of the collapse of the Walter White empire is so fucking compelling. Like the ending of Breaking Bad is like one of the finest endings of any TV show I've ever seen.
Yeah,
and Better Call Saul just had too much to live up to. Like Better Call Saul was kind of more somber ending, but I think like when you look back at it, like Better Call Saul ended the way it was going to end anyway. There's no way they could have steered around that.
That's exactly it. Like, you kind of know where Saul is going by the time you get near the end of it.
Yeah.
It's pretty obvious where it's going, as opposed to like the real value from Better Call Saul is, of course, you get Saul's backstory, you get his stuff with his brother and stuff like that. So all that stuff's really good, and that's very informative to how he gets to the Saul we know and everything like that. But again, it's much more the Mike Ehrmantraut stuff. It's the Nacho stuff. It's
Nacho's a fantastic character.
Oh yeah, like at the end of the day, Nacho's dead, Mike's dead. It's just Saul left, and he's a criminal on the run.
It's kind of like Saul, even though it's a prequel series, it ties up some like loose ends and like informs you on stuff that you don't quite get from Breaking Bad, and that's the real value of that. Like you know where Saul's going, and it's still really good TV. It's still dramatically really good, and I feel like it's a great ending and everything. But it's like it's an ending you see coming. Like the real staying power of that show is seeing what happens to the side characters, like what gets them to certain points in like Breaking Bad and all
like
that.
The great tragedy of what's his name, the lawyer guy.
Oh yeah,
Howard Hamlin.
The
whole tragedy. He didn't deserve any of that.
Starts as the bad guy and actually ends up being one of like the most like innocent people in the series to get fucked over through the whole.
Exactly.
And, I mean, I wasn't a big fan just because I wish they had set it up better. Like I mean, they kind of sort of say it was the trilogy where, well, spoilers if anyone hasn't seen it, don't really care at this point. Walter White dies, Jesse Pinkman escaped, so you kind of only had the option of Saul Goodman. Like he probably couldn't do either of those options. So yeah, he was going to go to prison. I just wasn't a big fan of the whole idea of like, oh well, you know, he negotiated his way basically to a pretty light sentence, and then it's like, oh, but I want Kim to know I've changed, so I'm just going to go to prison for the rest of my life. I'm like, I'm sorry, dude, but she fucking left you. Like, whether you're in love with her or not, that is not worth ruining the rest of your life when you could have gotten yourself a life sentence. That's the part that just bothers me about that whole thing. I don't like, if they'd give him a better motivation, okay, but I don't know. That's the part that just didn't work for me with the ending. But otherwise, I mean, that's really a nitpick. I mean, it's really difficult to stick the ending, and to me, they stuck it on Breaking Bad. El Camino, I thought, had a pretty good ending, and I can live with the Better Call Saul ending, although it probably I would have liked something a little bit more interesting, but is what it is.
It's one of those things where like Saul was so good through the entire run, it's like the ending just couldn't 100% live up to it, but it was still it's still just like one of the strongest like writers' rooms on TV, like delivering the goods, even if it's just one of those things where they wrote so much good shit before it, they couldn't quite stick the landing 100%. It's like the fucking plane comes down and one of the wheels goes off, but no one dies in the crash, kind of thing. You know?
Yeah, so still overall pretty good. Yeah, and I mean that's the thing is, I mean, look, I'm somebody who's very much into an ending, and if the ending sucks, I will generally not recommend. Like for instance, Game of Thrones. You got, I would say, 4 amazing seasons, 2 to 3 pretty decent seasons, and then a really bad last season with a really bad ending. And to me, I'm like, to most people, if somebody asked me, do you want to watch Game of Thrones? I'd be like, I don't know if I'd recommend it. I'd probably at least give you the caveat of don't expect the second half to be as good as the first half. You know, whereas Better Call Saul, I wouldn't give people that caveat. I'm like, yeah, my personal opinion is I could do a little bit something different on the ending. But otherwise, I mean, it's such a good show overall that, you know, it's like, whatever, it works out.
Yeah, Breaking Bad, I feel like, you know what, Breaking Bad during the prime of its run was one of like the best written, best acted shows on TV, but it descended into weakness so fast in the last couple of seasons. I feel like I understand why people are upset and they want like season 8 to be redone, because the way season 8 kind of went, especially even season 7, and really there's nowhere else where it could have gone because the source material was so good, and then the source material ended because George R.R. Martin never wrote any more of that shit for that,
and he probably will never finish another book. So.
Probably will never finish it, exactly. Like, and I feel like, yeah, like you go from having one of the best series in television to basically ending like a fart.
Well, because you had showrunners that were very good at adapting material, but they weren't good at creating their own material, and it
exactly
shows. I mean, I would say like you can see a drop off. Like even though 5 and 6 are not terrible, you see a massive drop off from season 4 to season 5 and 6, and then again another massive drop off. I
wouldn't even go that far. I still like I feel like they still had a pretty decent framework of material to operate on seasons 5 and 6. I still love the ending of season 6, like the whole bit where the Septa Baylord is destroyed, and like the plotting of like this of Cersei really starts to come out. It's just like it's so fucking good.
Was that season 7, or am I confused?
No, that was the end of season 6.
Oh, was
like
it?
The end of season 7 is where they do that fast travel shit with the dragons.
Yeah, that was probably one of the worst plot points ever. Was we need to go and get a White Walker to prove they exist. It's like,
Yep, and that was the end of season 7. That was the where they basically steal a white and then they bring it back to King's Landing to convince, and that still doesn't fucking work because all of a sudden you in the middle of like close to the end of like after most of the season 8, all of a sudden you still have that like that fucking turn into madness that Daenerys had in the last couple episodes, which just because it was so fucking rushed doesn't make sense. Like, I understand what they were trying to do, but like, it doesn't fucking make sense. And like, all of a sudden, the last couple episodes of season 8, just like, what the fuck were they doing? I understand why people want that redone because like for so long, Game of Thrones was such a great series, and then they ended it like that. And then Greg just left, so I'm gonna stop talking.
I can still hear you.
Were you guys talking about cars?
Yeah, right. We were talking about cars. We were talking about something that Lee doesn't have any interest in.
Game of Cars.
Game of Cars. Yes.
Have you not watched Game of Thrones?
Lee's never watched Game of Thrones. I don't think he ever.
I watched the first episode, and I was like, "This ain't for me, dog."
Oh, okay.
The first episode was kind of like there's stuff like in some of the mythos in the first episode of Game of Thrones, but it really doesn't start to get going until you watch a couple more episodes of the first season.
Yeah, I started that show when it was already all out, and I downloaded it all, and I basically binge watched it, and yeah, I don't think if I just saw one episode of that show, I would be all that enthused by it.
Well, yeah, like when I watched somebody, I think Heist Almighty made me watch the first episode of Game of Thrones, like in 2012 or something like that, and like I watched one episode and I'm like, I can do without this, and it wasn't until Sith made me watch it, and like a couple of years later, like here you just download, here's the whole season on a flash drive, watch this shit, and I ended up watching the entire first season. By the time you get to the first season, you're like watching like what? Whoa, wait a minute, what happens to fucking Ned? What do you mean he got his head chopped off? Like, what the fuck's going on here? And the whole thing goes from like keeps getting like it was deadly spiral of getting more and more fucked up, and then all of a sudden the title characters of the series get killed. I'm like, whoa, what the? And that's the point where it starts to like they keep moving the series on from there, and like the series gets more and more fucked up as it goes. I'm like, whoa, like it sucks you right in, but it really takes you several episodes to get sucked into it.
It's an it's a slow burn. It's although to some degree it's not as like Better Call Saul, although I would argue Better Call Saul is better written.
Well, yes, I would say that Better Call Saul is the better series in the sense that Game of Thrones. I was so hooked in Game of Thrones for a long time. And I just feel like I'm disappointed the way the ending went. Although I liked the first season of House of the Dragon. I just haven't watched the second one yet.
I would say the second season is actually probably better than the first. But I don't know. At this point, I mean, well, without spoiling anything, I'll say the second season leaves a stupid cliffhanger, and it's not one of those like good end of season cliffhangers. It's one of those like, oh, isn't there another episode? No, you got to wait for season 3. So it's kind of like, I would actually probably at this point recommend not watching it until season 3 is out, and then it'll probably be a better experience for you.
Well, I feel like I've watched the first season of Game. Like, here's the thing, like the DVDs or the Blu-ray box sets you can get for Game of Thrones, they come with these like promo videos, like telling you stories with the lore of Game of Thrones and stuff. And one of the stories they told was the story of the Dance of the Dragons. And the Dance of the Dragons is basically the entire premise of House of the Dragon, like what happened in the Targaryen Civil War, and I'm like, I already kind of know what's going to happen in House of the Dragon, and I'm looking forward to watching more about it. But as far as getting excited and like wanting to actually go in and pay attention, like nothing's really new. It's going to follow that story.
Yeah.
Not that it's a good story.
Anyways, who likes Cars?
Yeah, who likes Cars?
Nah, I don't know. Yeah, no. Game of Thrones saw the first episode. I was like, I ain't hooked, so I was done with it. It was kind of the same with Walking Dead. It was like I got 2 episodes into that. It was like what was the second episode? Was the one where he's in the tank or whatever the fuck in the town? And
yeah, it was like combination of first and second. That was kind of how it led into
I was like, I'm done. I've seen
you saved yourself a lot of bullets. I've watched all of the full main season of Walking Dead. I never watched Fear the Walking Dead, nor do I plan to. And I watched some of the spin-offs that basically just continue the stories of various characters from the main series. I would not recommend doing it. I do have a weird thing where I will probably continue to watch the spin-off series just because I will say Walking Dead has good characters in it. And there's characters you want to continue to see their thing and, see how, they're, how they continue on. I mean, especially, the character of, I'd say, so the character of Negan, who I'm trying to remember his name. He's in a bunch of stuff. He was in The Watchmen and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm blanking on his name too. I know who you're talking about.
But yeah, he's to me the most compelling character. So I like to watch the continuation of his story. And then Daryl Dixon, who is I'm blanking on all these names right now, but the guy in Death Stranding,
squinty hillbilly guy.
Yeah, basically, I find him to be fairly interesting. So, but yeah, I would. That's a series that I fully admit is a bad series, but I just continue watching because I like to torture myself. You're not missing anything there.
I was just like, oh, Romero's already did all this. I don't need to see it again. It's fine.
Yeah, the only thing about Walking Dead that I'd say is the value, and this is from the comics. I've read the comics as well. The comics are better, but the characters in it, at least some of them are actually worth watching because they're kind of interesting. Now, unfortunately, in the TV show especially, in the comics, almost all the characters are really well written. They're flawed, but really well written. Most of them die, and you're kind of sad when a lot of them die. In the TV show, they put in so many goddamn bullshit side characters that are just so annoying that half of them you're just like, when they die, you're like, good riddance. I mean, and there was a joke on The Walking Dead because I think something for like the first 4 or 5 seasons, the joke was you could only have one black guy at a time because every time you had one black character, and then every time he died or she died, they just replaced him with another black character. And so the joke was like you could only have one at a time.
I mean, it's not so much a joke as it's just the way they've done things in entertainment.
Well, it was also really bad. It was also really bad with the first few seasons. You had T-Dog, which is, the cheesiest name, and he was like a very stereotypical black guy, and it was just kind of like, oh no, he's not good at all.
No.
In terms of endings, you know what ending I know is controversial that I didn't hate, even though I didn't like the series that much, was Sopranos. I didn't mind the way they just fucking ended and just like, just in the middle of a scene.
I know that's like super controversial after the fact. I watched the entire series of Sopranos and I'm like, I totally get why they did it the way they did. Like it's just like they foreshadowed it in a few episodes beforehand, like where you don't like, where you're dead before you realize it happens, and they just go basically cut to Tony Soprano like done. Like Tony Soprano got whacked, so he doesn't know anything more than that. It just ends.
According to the writers of the show, granted, you don't ever find out. According to the writers of the show, they say he survived, but
yeah, well, whatever. I feel like that's debatable.
It's an ending that's up for interpretation, regardless of how you look at it. Yeah. But there's a chance he got killed, a chance he didn't get killed. You never fucking know, and you'll literally never find out because chances are they would have at some point made some sort of sequel. And James Gandolfini died, so I don't know. Maybe
James Gandolfini died, and then they came out with the Saints of Newark,
which I actually thought was quite good. Yeah, I enjoyed that.
I liked that movie.
I probably enjoyed it more than I enjoyed most of the actual Sopranos series, and I don't know, put a few more years on the kid, you probably could make a sequel series to Sopranos if they, olded him up or something. But olded him up. Did you ever watch the series Deadwood?
No, I didn't.
That's a series that's worth watching. I mean, it's not that big of a commitment. It's only 3 seasons, and I wasn't the biggest fan of how the actual show actually ended. But then they made a movie, which granted the movie was like 10, well, it was gotta be 15, 20 years later, after the show ended. And the movie was actually really good. It tied things up very nicely. So that's actually serious, especially since you're into spaghetti westerns. I mean, that's actually worth watching. And it's somewhat based on real life events, although loosely.
I haven't watched spaghetti western in a while now. I know I've got a.
That's why I still don't like you anymore.
Last spaghetti western I watched was Trinity Is My Name or something. The one with Terrence Hill. You know what I'm talking about. I think Bud Spencer is in it too.
Yeah, Bud Spencer's in the Trinity films.
Yeah, like I watched Trinity Is My Name, or I'm trying to remember the name of this. Trinity is.
That was like that series was the first.
They call me Trinity.
Yeah, that series was like the first real pairing of Bud Spencer and Terrence Hill.
I've got the twin pack Blu-ray that's got Trinity. They Call Me Trinity and Trinity Is Still My Name. And I watched They Call Me Trinity a couple of weeks ago with the intention of watching Trinity Is Still My Name afterwards. I still haven't watched Trinity Is Still My Name. But yeah, anyway, I'd seen They Call Me Trinity before. It's just a matter of sitting down and watching the movie. I've got a stack of spaghetti westerns I still haven't watched. Just like I've been doing so much biking lately, I just that I've kind of drifted away from that. But for those watching who probably don't give a shit, I've watched like probably more spaghetti westerns than Lee has at this point. Probably not.
I don't know. You might have.
I've seen a shit ton. I've seen like 50 plus at this point.
Okay, maybe not as many as I've seen, but I mean, you probably have a more ingrained memory of the ones you've watched compared to me.
Yeah,
because I've watched a lot of them like super like out of my mind drunk, where it's just like late, like 3 a.m. It's like, oh, here's a spaghetti western I've never seen. I'll watch it. It's like, yeah.
That's my problem with like, often if I want to watch a movie on Tubi or something, it'll just recommend some other. For some reason, I seem to lately, like whenever I watch something, the next movie is going to be a trauma film. So I'm like, all right, well, hopefully there'll at least be some nudity in it. The one I watched last, not any real nudity. So shame on you, Trauma. Also, it was like an hour and 40-minute, like weird comedy movie. Bloodhook would not recommend.
Bloodhook's weird.
Yeah, I did not enjoy it at all. But especially the ending where it's like the killer and the guy are like having like a fishing competition, but the fishing competition is they're trying to hook each other. It's really weird. I would absolutely, if the premise of the film was there and then the movie was like an hour and 10 minutes, I'd be like, yeah, this could be okay. Yeah. But my God, that movie, I'm like, is this movie done? It's got 40 more minutes? What the fuck?
It's a slash. Yeah, it's a slasher. It's a slasher parody, and it goes like a good 10, 20 minutes too long. Like it's just.
Oh, I think it goes probably 40, 50 minutes too long.
Sorry, which movie was this?
It's called Bloodhook. But I would personally not recommend checking it out. It's free on Tubi if you want to, but I would personally not recommend it.
Yeah.
What I would recommend is, I was just gonna say I would recommend Motel Hell and Eaten Alive, both very good sweaty summer movies.
Yeah, those are great films.
Yeah, you know me, I haven't watched. I love movies and I love partaking in Russell cinema and shit. I just haven't watched a whole lot of movies on my own. I did watch Midsummer again. This last week.
You did. You posted a picture.
Yeah, like that's actually still stands up as a pretty fucking good movie, and it's fucked up the way. Like, and it's weird. Like, I watched it again, and then I'm like rooting. Like, despite all the fucked up pagan shit that's going on, I'm still rooting for Florence Pugh. And you know what? And maybe it's just because Florence Pugh is hot, but also she's scorching hot. But at the same time, she's like, I understand, like, coming from like looking at her mental health background now, like everybody around her is pretty shitty anyway. You know?
Yeah. I never really liked that movie all that much. I mean, I generally, cult movies aren't really a big thing I'm into, and especially like Swedish cults or whatever the fuck country it was. But yeah, I never really liked that movie all that much. But
that's a pretty fucked up cult movie. Like,
yeah, well, it's kind of like was a more hardcore version of like The Wicker Man.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, I get that. Yeah. And like, we're talking the original Wicker Man, not the Nicolas Cage one. The original Wicker Man is pretty fun. Like the revelation at the end of that movie was fucked. Like for
I don't think I've seen the Nicolas Cage one. I think I've only seen the original.
I've never seen the Nicolas Cage one, but I've seen the original one with Christopher Lee, and that one is like the revelation at the end of that is pretty fucked up.
Sounds like you guys gave me an idea for Russell Cinema.
There we go.
We're gonna watch the Nicolas Cage version.
Oh yeah, I think we're gonna do that.
I would say if you're up for it, even potentially a double feature or another, because it's been a while since I've seen the first one, so I would say
here's a movie I want to see. I think I've seen part of Hostiles, but I haven't watched the whole thing. Like, it's a very slow-paced emotional western. A lot of people think it's great, but it's a little slow for me. Kristen Bale got me some awards from, pretty sure.
I've heard of that one. Is that one where he's like he starts like a rebel group, like fighting the Confederates or something like that?
I think he's supposed to be escorting like a native, like a native person, like the body of a native person back to its burial ground, or to his burial ground or something. So I think like Hostiles is like Christian Bale's running into a bunch of people who want to stop him from taking this body back. I've watched part of Hostiles before on TV, but I haven't watched the whole thing, and I want to sit down and watch the rest of Hostiles. But I remember what I saw was pretty fucking good.
In 1892, a legendary army captain reluctantly agrees to escort a Cheyenne chief and his family through dangerous territory.
Yes, that.
Okay.
That, yeah, I want to see Hostiles. I was thinking about buying that, actually.
Okay, so this is post Civil War, so okay.
Yeah. Yes, that sounds like the plot of hold on, I'm gonna look up the name of it. I can't think of the name. It's a relatively new Western that was out on Netflix. Hold on, Western.
You're probably thinking Hostiles. Hostiles is not that old.
No,
2017.
No, I'm thinking of a different movie, but it sounds like not a movie. It's American Primeval is what it's called. It's
okay.
You mentioned that.
It's a series on Netflix. It's not bad, but it sounds like it's pretty kind of similar-ish plot. Where guys, I don't think it's not a native person that he's fucking escorting.
You know what's good? Like as far as like Christian Bale as a Western star, another movie I really like him in is the remake of 3:10 to Yuma.
Yeah,
with Russell Crowe. That's a good one.
I haven't seen that one. Apparently, it's good though.
Yeah, I like it. I have it on Blu-ray.
I actually started watching and then fell asleep because I may have been having a few drinks.
Another one, like, and I know he's controversial at this point. I feel like there's another one, like, actor I feel like could be really good as a Western star, but I guess he's kind of fucked his career up maybe with the cancel culture and shit. James Franco in
Buster Scruggs.
Buster Scruggs, The Legend of Buster Scruggs. Yeah. Like that whole set where it's like, is this your first time? Or like,
yeah, is this your first time?
First time?
I like James Franco. I miss him as an actor, regardless of whatever he may or may not have done. I mean, I do miss him as an actor. I wish he could be. I wish they could like.
Who's the other guy? Like he did the Dictator.
Sacha Baron Cohen.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That. And then he was in a couple other things like comically. But yeah, he was pretty decent as a Western star in Buster Scruggs, and then just fucked up his career.
What?
As
No.
one does.
Wait, what are you talking about? Sacha Baron Cohen didn't fuck up his
No,
career.
not Sacha Baron Cohen. I'm talking about James Franco.
Yeah, no. James Franco was inappropriate with women, apparently, and that came back to bite him in the ass.
There you go. I expected it to be a lot more fast-paced and action-packed myself. I didn't quite enjoy it as much as I thought I would, but it wasn't bad. Just talking about hostiles. He's a scout native person through a dangerous territories. I remember watching. You know what's another Western that was pretty good? I watched it is Old Henry.
Yeah, Old Henry's pretty.
Old
decent.
Henry with what's his name?
He's the guy. He
was Buster Scruggs.
He's Buster Scruggs. Yeah.
What's his name? Ted? No.
Earl Haley something. No.
Yeah.
Oh, is that kid that got recently hit with cocaine possession or something?
No. Tim Blake Nelson.
Tim Blake Nelson. Yes, that's the one.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's
like Old Henry is really good.
Yeah. I felt like the ending kind of like didn't come off as well, but like the whole conceit and the idea I thought was a cool idea of like, oh, what if Billy the Kid actually survived? Like because
the whole notion of it, like
because
there's actually some I don't know if I call them scholars, but there's actually some historians that actually believe he did survive. So there's some supposed real reality behind it, supposedly.
But like the cool thing is that Tim Blake Nelson is not a traditionally good looking guy. Like he looks like a hillbilly. Like he looks like a fucking hick basically.
Does he play Billy the Kid?
Yeah, he plays like an older Billy the Kid who like survived basically, and if you look at the one or two actual photos that there are in existence of Billy the Kid, he kind of looks like Billy the Kid might look like that if he got like to age like 40, 50, something like that.
Yeah, it does look a little bit of a mongoloid, although apparently it's funny because I literally just listened to a podcast on Billy the Kid, and apparently they actually say Billy the Kid was actually pretty good looking. So like the photos that exist of him are apparently like kind of just bad photos.
I mean, also maybe the standards were a lot lower in the Old West because
I mean that is absolutely true. They could be, but yeah, it's so what's the name of that one?
Old Henry.
Old Henry. I actually kind of want to check that out. And actually, because I do like all.
I'd watch it again if you want to add that to the Russell Cinema list.
Add it to the Russell Cinema list.
I could do a Western night this Saturday.
Yeah, I love it on Western night.
Because I could do Old Henry, and I have a Bill Pullman Western in mind that would be good to pair with that one.
Okay. Well, you know me, I love Westerns. So, yeah. Like, I remember, like I was saying, I watched Old Henry with Guy one night, and nobody else was around, and I like, this is a really fucking good movie. Like the whole Billy the Kid, I think. Because you're not really introduced in the movie as him as being Billy the Kid. You're just sort of watching him. Then there's a revelation at the end, and then he fucking kicks ass.
Yeah, which is... That was more the problem I had with it because like from all accounts Billy the Kid was kind of like he wasn't really a gunfighter so much as he was just kind of like a back shooter and a kind of a scoundrel kind of guy. Like he, like from the more like legitimate accounts, he was just kind of like one of those guys who got lucky in gunfights for the most part more than anything else and shot people in the back instead of like being like a fast gunslinger or anything like that.
I mean, apparently he was fast, but apparently he was also pretty good. Like he was one of those people where they say he was a pretty good thinker on his feet, but then like he wasn't very good at planning stuff, which is why he fucked up a lot of things. But and they also supposedly say like he I think some people claim he killed as many as 21 people, but most people say there's only evidence he actually killed like 4.
Yeah, it's pretty disputed. Like But the one I'd pair it with, The Ballad of Lefty Brown from 2017 with Bill Pullman.
Oh.
This one I really liked because Bill Pullman's kind of playing like if you think of like traditional westerns, like John Wayne westerns and stuff like that, there's always like the older kind of zany sidekick character who's like kind of a comedy foil for the main character kind of thing.
Yeah.
And basically that's what Bill Pullman's playing in this movie, but his like the guy he's paired with, who's the Western hero, and in this one he's played by Peter Fonda. I think it was Peter Fonda's last film, honestly.
Peter Fonda, wow.
Yeah, but Peter Fonda's like in the John Wayne kind of role, and he gets killed. And then Bill Pullman, who, as the sidekick, kind of gets blamed for the murder for a while, and like so he has to go on the run and like basically solve the mystery of like who actually killed Peter Fonda. And the whole thing is like about the sidekick character coming into his own and showing that, you know, he's actually capable of like being the Western hero kind of thing. Like I think it's
that sounds like something I'd like to watch.
Yeah, I think it's one of the best westerns in the last like 30 years. It's really, really cool.
And you know what? Like I'm just saying, like if you were to do it a triple header night, there's another movie I haven't watched, which is the remake of True Grit with Jeff Bridges.
Oh yeah.
That probably
if we start, because I'm not podcasting on Saturday, so if we start on Saturday at like 8 or 9, we could do 3 westerns.
Yeah. I'm totally fucking down for that.
All right.
You know me, I love westerns. Mainly of the spaghetti variety, but I just like going and like digging deep with like the Italian shit.
Yeah, but I feel like a couple of these are slightly spaghetti adjacent, even because you know they got the same sort of.
It's a spaghetti adjacent.
They got the sort of the same revisionist slant to them that spaghetti westerns. Always
they're not realistic in westerns at all. Neither like spaghetti.
Well, no,
spaghetti westerns is like in the Italian sense are fucking fantasy.
Well, no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that they have the sort of same revisionist slant that spaghetti westerns had, whereas you know they showed Western characters dirty and grimy and life was hard and stuff, even though, you know, spaghetti westerns had these more fantastical elements on top of that. They were showing more the reality of like actually living in the old West, where you'd be constantly covered in dust and flies and bullshit. And these movies that we'd be doing on Saturday night, they also kind of like reflect that. Like they're more traditional westerns in a sense, but they have the aesthetics of like spaghetti westerns on top of them, where they're showing more the reality of like what people would look like back in that era and shit like that, as opposed to them having like the typical, oh, the hero's clean cut, he's got no dirt on his fucking clothes, and it's black and white. You know who the good guys are, you know who the bad guys are, that kind of shit. Like the 3 westerns we'd be watching they kind of abandon that kind of idea, like that 1930s 1940s Hollywood cowboy versus Indian, cowboy versus bad cowboy fucking ideal.
Yep. All right, I'm gonna take this shit offline because I'm fucking beat, and unlike Brandon, I don't have to call in sick in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
getting around Brandon, but like I'm like too many beers deep at this point. I need to sober up for the morning, so I can't wake up drunk.
No.
So unfortunately, I'm not Greg. I'm not permanently retired, so I'm gonna take this thing offline. I want to thank the only person who commented on the video tonight, which is Brandon, who I'm sure I'll see at 8 a.m. tomorrow or before, like 15 minutes before the shift.
Yeah, he's gonna watch you eat your breakfast sandwich.
Exactly. He's gonna sit there and watch my breakfast.
You could have been in the chat, Brandon. How long does it take you to do your laundry? You motherfucker.
Your Brandon see you tomorrow, Nick.
Listen, the bastard has a lot of skid marks. Leave him alone.
I guess.
Yeah, I'm getting tired. Talk to you later. I might need Dwayne alarm, but it'll be there.
Wow.
Like Dwayne is our 6'7" Jamaican coworker who's famous for, like, if Brandon doesn't show up for work, he'll text Brandon and wake him up. He said to do that more than once.
All
right. We're gonna take this shit offline. I want to talk to you guys later. Have a good day.
Chris Peters killed those women.
Well, Brandon says no, I'll be there. I get 2 alarms now. Sure, Dwayne will still be texting.
Nice.